10 bird dogs. Yeah, we're trying this 5 a.m. client thing prior to this. Might be a bit of a squeeze, but it's week 1, so.
Hope it's a fun client.
She's nice. I just met her.
Okay.
We'll see. If we can find another time for her, that's fine. That might be time enough to figure that out. So cat cows followed by bird dogs. Taking your time through these. You're going to extend your leg, but make sure your butt's squeezed, right? So the pelvis is going to stay as equal as possible. Try not to lift the leg so high that your hip has to come up too high off the that even keel. Okay. 10 total. Followed by the thread the needles, right? All pretty familiar right now, but just in case, right? Big reach the ceiling. Nice rotation through.
You know, I found this standing ones work a lot better for me.
Yes, and if you prefer the standing version, yeah, actually, that's great, Maxie. I'll demonstrate while you do it. So standing version of this is less floor based and actually quite nice. I'll say you're in an airport, still kind of awkward, but not the end of the world. Kind of a wider stance. Put your hand on the inside of your leg and kind of more of a reach up this way. There's no through element to this one, but there's a nice upper back rotation, right? And I like to stand one side for a few. Switching is just a bit cumbersome. And then we'll switch sides. So same idea. We're just in a slightly bent over or hinged position. Or if you need a little more support, can you put your hand on like a tabletop or something to support the back? That's okay. Yeah, sometimes that rotation can be a little bit aggressive on that tabletop. Good.
Yeah, I feel like I can actually rotate more standing up.
Yeah, you get a little more spinal rotation, kind of more global spinal rotation. So like from head to tailbone. But with the tabletop version, it's a lot more thoracic, specifically kind of upper back. So that's probably why it feels so limited.
Yeah, I'm shoulder so stiff.
But that's okay. Well, we'll do our little arm circles. Once you have the 3 to 5 per side, right? We either come to a kneeling or standing position. So I'm going to kneel because I'm here and that's where my camera is. But as long as you have room to swing your arms around, essentially. Arms in a T shape, start small. Gradually make those circles bigger. And it's okay if you're making relatively different size circles per arm. If it helps for anyone dealing with a shoulder injury or in just discomfort, you can do one arm at a time. If you're worried about overextending one joint or musculature, right? But if you feel comfortable, both at the same time, 10 rotations one direction, thumbs up, 10 rotations the opposite direction. Good. Ish, 10-ish, kind of lost count already. Good job, me. Forward and back. Again, this is where I can get my hand back, my shoulder to stay put. Or wherever that gets you. Good. Well, give yourself a little hug. So, yeah. This is a good pre-wetsuit routine. Just get
something on under your wetsuit.
Yes, always.
Swimsuit, tri-suit.
Can't. I can't believe it. I can't believe she was naked.
That's a lot.
Was that a prank? Did someone tell her that?
Oh my gosh, that would be such a horrible prank. Yeah,
Or maybe no one told.
collegiate or, definitely under 35 because we were all at the water entrance,
Yeah, I'm just shocked. I mean, like, even if someone said that to me, I would still be like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Because you're not going to do the whole thing naked. So, you know, you're going to have to put clothes on. And who puts clothes on when you're wet and
I
cold?
agree. The other thing I would say is even if I believe that, I would still go to my station fully zipped up,
Yeah.
swim towel and change. Like,
Yeah. And maybe also read some rules, like, especially if you're doing something new, read the rules. I don't know.
The rules, the athlete's guide was very, very light. It
Oh,
was at,
yeah. Was there even a guide? I think I remember that. It was like, there
and
wasn't
at
much
the
to it.
table they were like, "Do you have any questions?" And I was like, "Well, I've done this before." They're like, "Okay."
Mhm.
They're like, and so for if you're that new, you wouldn't even know what questions to ask.
That's true. Yeah.
Google that. I'm like, I don't know what words to use.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of triathletes are pretty type A and figured kind of this shit out before, but you know that you never know.
Takes all types, you know?
That's-
Sometimes you wing it.
yeah.
Flash everybody. We're gonna go ahead and do some squats next. So you're gonna find yourself, I know you can't see my whole body, so I'll get as much as I can in here. My feet are about shoulder to hip width. So where you like to squat from, I want your hands above your head or in front of you. So it's not here, maybe it's here. That's okay. We're squatting down. Right? To whatever you can squat to. Bring your fingertips to the floor, your toes in front of you, or maybe your shins, depending on your flexibility. Raise your hips. Squat back down. Hands back up. That's one. Good, let's do 4 more. So squatting down, a little hamstring stretch. Squat. When squatting, hands are above your head. Good. Just feeling this out. Lovely. Love. Good. And if you need to ever, and this is for anyone, if you're feeling really stiff and you're like, hands are above my head, that's fine for forward. You can also make a Y shape. So sometimes if we don't want to be like super narrow, that's harder to do. Make a Y shape. Right? And that's fine too. Okay, my friends. So let's talk about our plank into down dogs. You can even do this elevated, by the way, Maxine, if you want to. So like plank to tabletop, if you will. But so this is the second piece of our, I guess, second part of our first piece. So plank shape, right? We're going to be in our plank shape here, right? Down dog, stretch. Bend the knees, it's fine. Calf pump, whatever feels good. We're doing 8 of these, right? So meant to be a nice active stretch. That's all we're doing, okay? The first step, right, of this, and a little knee bend, by the way, on this is okay. Go ahead, come on up. Our offset front squats. So front squat just means we're carrying the weight in front of us. And specifically, right, typically a front squat would be like this, right, here. Or for my kettlebell athletes, I only have one here, but here, right, 2 of them. The offset element is the singular object. So we're going to carry in the same spot. We're doing 4 reps per arm position. So still a total of 8. It looks something like this. I'm trying to get myself here. So whether I'm carrying my dumbbell, okay, or I'm carrying my kettlebell, okay, both of these apply. I'm going to be carrying my weight on one side, okay, 3 seconds down, right? So you can stick your hand out to balance, that's fine. 1, 2, 3, hold 1, stand. 1, 1, 2, 3, hold 1, stand. Let's say do 4. I know that was 2, right? You're gonna switch, right? Right, 1, 2, 3, hold 1, and do 4 on that side. Okay, we're doing that. Your 4 per side, offset tempo front squats. And then the 8 planked down dogs. Doing that total 3 times. So, grab your weights.
So offset just meaning one side only.
Correct. Yeah, it just means just slightly uneven. It's just meant to be slightly more challenging from a balance perspective. Right. So meaning you could either potentially go a little bit heavier
Oh, okay.
to a point to a point, or obviously that heaviness is going to be relative. Because you're doing 3 rounds of this reset, you can start a little bit lighter where you want to. And be like, you know what? Maybe I can go up. I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna go up.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have the option to add, then you
Okay.
can always add. Don't feel like you have to start heavy.
Oh,
When you're ready, y'all, let's do 4 per side. Offset, meaning singular side. Front squats. Yep. That bottom position is just a check-in. Balanced. Good. And you seem okay, Maxine, but if you need to change the weight for one side, go with your baby dumbbell. Yeah. There you go.
10 pounders.
There you go. Not so baby, but less. You have 4 per side, right? You're going to do 8 plank into down dogs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing now?
Yep, that's okay.
Got it.
Or that could be plank into, like, that could be a table plank into tabletop if your hands are elevated.
Okay.
Right.
Plank and down dogs. Okay.
Or tabletop, depending on if your hands are elevated on something, that might feel more like a tabletop position, right? Tabletop stretch. Yeah. Nice pass, nice active stretching here. Obviously respect any joints that we need to protect. Shoulders, hips, knees, ankles. There you go. No, like, and obviously for those of you who don't have the option to add weight, that's okay. Stick with what you have. There you go. Yep. Yeah, the hand, that opposite hand, if it needs to stick out in front of you or to the side, just to feel like you're not gonna fall over, is fine. Okay. If it feels, yeah, that dumbbell can sit on your shoulders, Maxine. That's fine if it's like on your shoulder, like touching. It's resting there. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like off the shoulder. That makes it significantly harder. This is more of a, if you choose, if you want to make that a push-up, right, in like push-up plank down dog. Great. But the push-up here is not a given, nor is it a requirement. It's more for anyone who chooses to add that in today. Lovely. Nice work, y'all. So starting your final set of these, so your third set. Yeah. Just want to point out a reset. You do not need to carry your second weight, by the way. You can have the opposite hand unweighted. In fact, it's meant to be offset, meaning we don't carry anything in the opposite hand.
Oh, whoops.
Right.
Okay.
I
It's
just,
a bit, I know obviously I know you had two different weights there, Maxine, but the idea is to intentionally load one side and be a little bit like, oh, hey, I have to balance a little bit. Good. Final set of plank into down dogs. Beautiful. So we have this next piece, right? We're going to talk about dumbbell, or I say dumbbell. We'll talk about chest flies in a second, or prone swimmers. So this is going to be your two options. This is one of those things where the chest flies is kind of very pec heavy. And you're going to think about when doing this, well, I have the ground. If you have a bench, you can use a bench. But essentially, what's going to happen is I'm going to imagine squeezing my upper back. So as I come down towards the floor, squeeze my upper back, right, come back together. So from the front, it looks like this to this, right? So I'm almost like I'm squeezing something here, right? So I'm squeezing in my armpit, and when I have weights, whether I have dumbbells or a can of beans, they're about here. They're not necessarily, they can touch if you want them to. But I think it's, Nikki calls it the hug machine, if you see at the gym. The hug machine. It's that, but I imagine squeezing something in my armpit, but as I do, I'm kind of flexing this, right? But my shoulder always stays just like my bench press in line with my, or floor press, in line with my shoulder joint, right? I'm not, or pec, I'm not here, because that ends up being all this, right? I don't want this. I want a flex here. So even if you have breast tissue, right, it's okay if you don't feel it immediately, but you should feel a little bit of flexion or a little flex underneath. And then our prone swimmers. So let me go over let's go over this. I have 10s. I haven't done these 10s before, so we'll find out. But you can use, again, can of beans here, not kidding, are going to be just fine. So I'm on my back, okay? My elbows are slightly bent, my shoulder blades are back and down. So as opposed to being reaching, I'm squeezing up and back, or sorry, back and down. My elbows are a bit bent. I'm going to bring my elbows towards the floor, right? So I'm not quite touching the ground. I can, but I don't need to, right? We're doing 8 of these, right? Kind of hugging an imaginary object. The other option, if you're like, you know what, that makes no sense, or I want to go slightly more shoulder based, your prone swimmer. Prone just means facing down. That's all. And then the prone swimmer, hands gotta be in the low back or on the ground beside you. So either here, here, and then keep the shoulders back, and then rotate, right. So either again on top of your butt or on the ground in front of you. Shoulders stay off the ground. Right. You might want to reach farther. I just have a couch in the way. Okay. So not quite a swim, but pretending to swim. We kind of talked to the bicep curls. So bicep curls can either be, right? So again, standing is fine. I'm just kneeling for the sake of camera angles, right? So it can be either right here, right? And shoulder stays in line with one another, right? Isometric dumbbell curls, hold 90 degrees. 1, 2, get to 8 and switch sides, right? If you only have one dumbbell that's heavy enough to bicep curl, then maybe you do just wait for 8, right? Or hold a lighter one here. And you can switch. And our glute bridges, I think by now, hopefully, we know what glute bridges are, but just on the off chance you don't. Glute bridges here. 1, 2, so on. Beautiful. Any questions from the peanut gallery? No? Great. When you're ready. I almost made a joke about not being allergic to peanuts. But let's start with that. Either the prone swimmers or chest flies. I was also going to say unlikely, but should you have an incline bench, Maxine? Something you can like sit on the bench moves. You can also do this on an incline bench. So either. So if we're going to do the isometric ones, right? We're doing 8 per side. And I want you to, if you're doing the one arm at a time, I want you holding one arm at 90 while moving the other. So this stays where it is. Yeah. And then the other arm starts to bicep curl. Nope, not alternating. 8 per side. Okay, but the arm you're not, so the arm that you're flexing is good. So one arm is 90, the other arm is coming to full extension, back up. Yeah, there you go. Good. Yeah. So the arm that you're bicep curling with, obviously, if you're going to come down to elbow extended, come back up. The arm you're not bicep curling with, you're going to hold. So a bit of motor control.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
For
They're all-
side, that's it? Or are we doing, sorry.
And 12 glute bridges.
Okay.
I don't know why that seemed so hard.
That was hard.
Because it is that hold at 90 degrees, right? It's both mentally a bit of a game, like you have to like, holding one and working the other. And so it's a motor control drill, but it's also you're constantly under tension. So instead of like lengthening the muscle, like get a little stretch and come back up, one muscle is constantly flexed. So even if you bicep curl regularly, I find that people who do this isometric version have to go down and weight a little bit. Okay, I have to go down and weight a little bit. I won't speak for the general population, but my bicep curls are also comically funny in terms of how not strong I am. I always end up laughing at myself. For anyone who's hypermobile, keep the elbows slightly bent at the bottom of your bicep curl. The chest flies are a funny one. So I say, if you're here in person, go ahead and let me know if you have any questions about those.
Any chest flies?
Yeah, what about them?
How many?
How many? You're doing 8.
Thanks.
Yeah, so 8 chest flies or prone swimmers, but both are doing chest flies here. 8 dumbbell bicep curls. So either, right, we're doing 2 at the same time or the isometric versions. But I
Thanks
gave
for
those 2 versions.
Yell from the void.
What was that?
Thanks for letting me yell from the void.
Oh yeah, of course.
All
Was
the
it?
just went out of my head.
I feel like maybe you should like have a little like plastic garden down there, so while you're laying down, you can kind of just get your work.
From my popping up with a costume on or something.
I really think that just one or have a different hat for every time you come up. Bing!
Yeah. I gotta work on that.
If you send me your address, Maxine, I'll just send you random things.
Okay. I love getting random shit in the mail.
I mean, I'm a big fan.
Fun.
I mean, that's where our stuffed baguette came from. Just because they're not from random people. Random stuff from people I know.
Yeah.
It's because from people you don't know, that's creepy. That's just unwelcome. Yes, where it go? I was gonna say, for anyone looking up chest flies on the internet, you're gonna see a lot of gym bros. Don't be discouraged. It's not just for gym bros. It's for good old fashioned triathletes like you. Just a little upper body. Upper back squeeze. So the chest opens. The upper back squeezes together. Squeeze. Imagine squeezing a quarter between your shoulder blades. And then as you squeeze together, imagine hugging. Obviously, if this is causing some unnecessary discomfort, or maybe you're not quite getting it, I will check Discord this week and just kind of pop on there and let me know if you need help with those.
I like the hug machine cue was a good one.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Because you know, oh yeah, the hug, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, the one in the gym are like, right?
Yeah.
So I gave you the isometric hold, the isometric bicep curls, in case the weights you have are a little bit light, right? So maybe you'd love to go up, right? You could do these guys fine, but you don't have the option to go up because you don't have those weights. The isometric hold can make your bicep curls, I would say, a little bit harder, but you're doing great as you are. If you are able to do them, keep doing them. But if you have heavier weights, like I only have 20 pounds, maybe you can do a 20. I don't know if I could do that with 20. And I was going to say, in substitution for the glute bridges, this is anyone, let's say the floor stuff is getting a bit old, or you just need an alternative, good mornings are fine as well. Which is essentially a standing glute bridge. Keep rolling, YouTube, but for anyone watching us later on, if you need a substitution for your glute bridge, hands behind the head, head back, squeeze your butt to stand. Slightly more loaded in the spine, a little bit, but it's a similar intent. Basically, next time either of you pop up, no need to scream out of the void there, but let me know what round you're on. Is that 3? 3? Yeah, Risa says 3. I agree. I think that feels like 3. Good.
One more.
Una más.
Okay. Right. Oh yeah. What was it? The hug machine first.
Hug machine.
Hug machine. Yeah, I did my hug machines.
Is anyone a Friends fan?
I mean, I watched it back in the day.
Yes, that's all we need.
Like
back in the day.
Yeah, it doesn't age well. I agree. A lot of toxic masculinity happening.
I'm kind of afraid to.
If we could ignore that tiny elephant in the room. Do you remember when Bruce Willis was on the show?
No.
Yeah. So this is later on. Bruce Willis.
Oh, yeah.
And this is when he was dating Rachel and Ross was dating another person, his daughter. And that was the whole like premise of that it was comical because he was, this girl's dad, and Rachel thought he was hot. So they started dating. And anyway, there's a point in which they all go to the cabin, or he goes to the cabin with Rachel, and he was like, I'm just a love machine. And all I think is, I'm just a hug machine. That's all I can think of. As Bruce Willis singing. That's where my head goes.
Oh, I don't
A
remember.
very random, it's not a big moment in Friends. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. It's not the world's, but it is like hug machine, love machine. It just feels like those two things match. Or you can easily make a spoof of one song.
Okay.
Very Wayne's World. You can kind of make a spoof.
That movie.
So final.
I went to law school in Washington, D.C., and Delaware is not that far, right? So after I graduated, Chris started coaching soccer teams, and he had some of the parents had a beach house that they let us go stay at in
Yes.
Delaware. So, so my brother and I used to watch Wayne's World all the time. Like, hey, I'm in Delaware. I mean, Delaware.
You and Nick, I feel like you and Nikki are both. I didn't have cable growing up. So I obviously know of Wayne's World, but I didn't really like, I watched it at my friends' houses, but I never watched it
Yeah.
regularly. But ask Nikki Brown, most of his references to popular songs were all Wayne World versions, and he heard the actual songs later. Like, to this, you should text him and ask him about pick your favorite Wayne World like spoof song, and then he'll tell you and probably start singing it to you, if you're lucky enough.
Oh.
Oh boy.
If you're privileged to hear it. Okay, beautiful work. So now we have a little upper body, a little bit of hamstringy glute bridge stuff. Go ahead, finish those off, Ree, so that's okay. We have essentially 30 seconds of work, 30 seconds of, so we're gonna switch between dead bugs and bear plank holds. To make this simpler, what we're gonna do is 4 sets of dead bugs, then 4 sets of bear plank pull throughs, just so we're not going up and up and down, right? So first 4, right, sets of 30 seconds of work is going to be, right, we're gonna have 30 seconds of rest each. But so weight is optional. So I happen to have dumbbell. You don't have to have a dumbbell with your arms. Okay. I'm gonna make sure I'm braced. My hips are over my knees. My hands are over my shoulders. I'm going to go ahead and right. If I have a towel, my low back, you shouldn't be able to pull it out from underneath here. If this is too much, take the dumbbell away, right? And maybe, right, opposites are fine. Either of those options, okay? You're just gonna go back and forth. Second part,
Opposite side.
it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
They're just different. Some people have a preference for in terms of ease on the brain, like they just prefer one style over the other. They're both totally fine.
Okay.
Just want to point out you could do either. So followed by bear plank pull throughs. So bear plank just means a tabletop position. My knees are slightly off the ground and my dumbbell or object, okay, is behind my wrist. My knees are floating off the ground. I'm going to reach across, right? A little shifting here is okay. It happens. If this is too hard, right? This is too much. You can go into a plank position. Reach across. Same idea. If this is still too shoulder heavy, we can do plank shoulder taps, right? So hands elevated or not. So that can be done with it, hands elevated. So if the shoulders need a little bit of a break, it's just meant to be a bit of a core piece. That's all we're looking for. We're going 30 seconds each, right? You're going to rest 30 seconds. We're going to do 4 sets of the dead bugs, and then 4 sets of the pull throughs or a variation of those things. All right, let me get my timer going here. Excuse me. If it'll work. Nope. That's cute. We're not working. Excuse me. Let me grab my. Yeah. And watch wasn't working. I don't know why. So here we are. Starting in 3, 2, 1, and go. In the 30 seconds of rest, all you need to do is just lay down, hang out, whatever you want to do.
Hey, Max.
That's all.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
That's what I figured. Have a good day.
You too.
3, 2, 1, rest. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that
Sorry,
just
I forgot sound was still on.
it's okay. That lets me know that it's hard enough. That's a good sign. You're like, oh. Yeah, that's okay. Just make sure you're breathing, okay? Not holding our breath. We're gonna stay on our backs a recess, so we're not gonna be 2, 1, and go. So still on our dead bugs.
Oh, okay.
I
Oops.
realized I wrote that funny. We're gonna do 4 sets of dead bugs, 4 sets of bear plank pull throughs. If you're rolling on your own here and you are able to switch up and like back on the ground into a tabletop position with little effort, you can just switch back and forth from dead bug to bear plank holds. But don't feel like you have to. Depends on your logistics. Good, and rest. Good. Three, 2, 1, and go. It's your third set of dead bugs. Three, 2, 1, rest. This next interval is your final dead bug interval. Again, if you're alternating, doing this on your own, you can be switching back and forth. Three, 2, 1, and go. Final set of dead bugs. When in doubt, if someone could pull a towel from under your low back, it's probably a little bit not quite engaged enough. 2, 1, rest. Your next station, you have plenty of time to rest here. It's going to be that either bear plank pull through, so that's your tabletop position with your knees off the ground, pulling an object from behind your opposite wrist. Could be from a plank position, a little bit less challenging, or we need to adjust a plank shoulder tap. This starts in 3, 2, 1, and go. Elevating your hand for that plank shoulder tap can also alleviate some pressure on the shoulder. Three, 2, 1, rest. You good, Maxine, with the shoulder?
Yep.
Okay. It's like, frankly, you can also just find a different version too. Find a different ab piece,
Yeah.
you know, if you ever need to. That goes from anyone doing shoulder rehab right now. Okay, second set of this in 2, 1, and go. The lower your knees are to the ground, and that's for that bear plank position, the more challenging it becomes. Breathing. Yep. So no breath holds, just breathing through your movement. Three, 2, 1. Rest. Lovely. This will be your third set of your plank pull-throughs. 3, 2, 1, and go. Just working through this. Of course, within the 30 seconds, if you need to take a break or come down to your knees or rest, that's fine. Take care of yourself. 2, 1, rest. Final rest interval or your final set. Friends. 5, 3, 2, 1, and go. My friends, final 5 seconds. 2, 1, and rest indefinitely. Nice work. Great work. How was that? Manageable? Doable? Good.
Oh, challenge,
Challenging's good. Yeah,
challenge, but doable.
that's what we're looking for. Sometimes we just need hard enough.
Yeah.
Right? Good work today. Yeah. It's okay. Heart rate up is a good sign. A little flushed. Enjoy the rest of your week. And next week I'll be coming in hot as well after my I'll be extra perky. So if you're not where I'm at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. next week, that's okay.
Understand. Next week and then the following 2 weeks.
Correct. Yeah. So the
Awesome.
18th and the 25th.
Nice.
All right.
I will not be here, but there should be either replays or frankly, if you just go for an extra walk or take care of yourself in some respect. You should be okay.
We'll be
Good.
Strava stalking you.
Fair enough. All right.
Are you doing any bike riding there, or is this just?
Oh, I wish. I
Oh.
maybe. We'll see. It's a family trip. So basically everything was planned before I decided to go or was invited to go. So I'm just kind of following along, which I'm kind of okay with. I'm not doing I'm not gonna obviously I am not doing the Taiwan KOM because A, it's not a close road, and B, it's a ridiculous event that I am not ready for right now. And would require immense amounts of support if I tried to go do it on my own.
What is it? What's the segment?
Oh, the Taiwan KOM, I forget. If you look up Taiwan KOM, it's like,
Okay.
oh, what is it? I don't know how many feet of climbing it is. Hold on. quick Google. Let's see. It is. Well, I guess technically it's a road race. I say technically. Like, but a lot of people just do it as a sportif.
Round road race with a little elevation.
They don't, it's one of those things where they don't necessarily, it's some people just do it to complete it, right? They're not there to win. So the elevation gain is really, can't be it. Really? Oh, it's meters. Okay, that makes more sense. It's like, it's not 3,000 feet because it's definitely that we do here regularly.
Oh, wow.
It's like 3,529 meters
Ooh.
elevation gain. And the last, I think, if I understand correctly, the last few kilometers is like, it just pitches up at the end. It's just like whoop and just goes.
And oh,
Sounds
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. The max gradient is 27.3%.
Oh my God. That's
Basically a wall.
yeah.
We're approaching 30% elevate. Like, phew.
That's
Anyway.
crazy.
Anyway, so I'm not doing that more specifically. If I can get on a bike and roll around to see the city, like especially like Taipei, which will be
Yeah.
a couple of days, that'd be great. But at the very least, a lot of walking, a lot of just,
Yeah.
I'd say being generally active, but
Yeah.
if I can get on a bike, absolutely. But will there be time? I'll probably have to look at the itinerary I was sent.
Yeah.
Find out. But it'll be good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a bit of a last minute decision, but pleased to do it. So
Yeah.
also I want to show you an update on my shirt. So I showed you this, right? This is the ugly version.
oh,
Like not, this is just a scrap version. And then I have the real version is in progress. So my Rafa stripe is in progress.
Well, you're making that?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
So this
cool.
is my Rafa stripe,
Wow.
my non-Rafa stripe. So this is the actual version.
Very cool.
Yeah. So in progress, has a lot of like hanging bits, but yeah.
Awesome.
So we'll see. Probably won't finish it before I go, but that would be fun if I did. But yeah, it's the less ugly version of that. It's poor, sad shirt. It was just to make sure I could do it, basically.
wow.
Before I invest in yarn that I don't want to waste. All right, you two, enjoy the rest of your day.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Edits this
Kirstie.
video. Sorry,
All right.
Meg. I'll see you guys next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.